am Amelia. That day was supposed to be an arranged engagement party by both parents for me and Jack. I don't love him. I don't feel anything for him. Mom and Dad wanted me to get married to him because of his father's wealth. I have grown up loving Ken, a very handsome and sweet man. That moment as I saw Ken at the engagement party, my chest tightened. My throat burned. I moved quickly, slipping away from Jack, ignoring the curious looks and whispered questions. I found Ken near the hallway, hiding behind a marble column. "You came," I said, breathless. "I had to see you. One last time if I had to," he replied. My heart dropped. "What do you mean?" He stepped closer. "If this is what you want, Amelia, if you really want to stay in this life, I'll walk away. I'll let you go. I won't fight it anymore." Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, do well to subscribe, like, and hit on notifications. To all my returning subscribers, thanks for stopping by. Let us begin. I was born into a life where everything sparkled. Marble floors, golden chandeliers, designer clothes, and silence. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the cold, heavy one. The kind that fills long dining tables where nobody talks unless it's about money, reputation, or what's next on the schedule. My parents, Charles and Vivian Thompson, had built their empire from the ground up. Now they lived as if emotions were a weakness, and love was a foolish fairy tale for the poor. I wasn't supposed to meet someone like Ken. It happened on a rainy Thursday afternoon. I was driving back from an event I had zero interest in, a charity lunch my mother forced me to attend so I could be seen. My car, a brand new Mercedes, suddenly sputtered and died on the side of the road. I sat in the driver's seat, angry, wet, and completely helpless. Then Ken showed up. He was wearing an old gray hoodie, oil-stained jeans, and a smile that could disarm a battlefield. "You okay?" he asked, leaning slightly toward my window. I rolled it down halfway, unsure. "My car just died. I don't know what's wrong with it. Mind if I take a look?" Before I could answer, he popped the hood and got to work like it was second nature. 10 minutes later, the engine purred back to life. He didn't ask for anything in return. Just smiled and said, "You should get this checked properly. Could be the battery." "Thank you. I'm Amelia," I said, stepping out to shake his hand. "Ken," he replied, and that was the beginning of everything. I found excuses to drive by his auto shop after that. Flat tires, weird noises, imaginary problems. He caught on quickly but never said anything. He just grin and play along. We started talking more about books, music, dreams. I learned he wanted to open his own garage one day, and that he was putting his younger brother through school. He was smart, funny, and more real than anyone I'd ever met. I fell in love with him before I even realized it was happening. But nothing stays hidden forever. One evening I came home late from seeing him. My father was waiting in the living room holding my phone. His face was stone, unreadable. "Who is Ken?" he asked. I hesitated. "He's my friend. Don't lie to me." I stayed quiet. There was no point pretending. He sighed. "Amelia, you're not a child anymore. You should understand how the world works. People like him, they don't belong in our lives." "He's not like that," I said, my voice trembling. But my father had already made up his mind. Within days, he and my mother arranged a meeting with Ken's parents. They offered them a bribe, a large sum of money to make Ken walk away from me. I didn't know about it until later, when Ken showed up looking tired but proud. "They came to my house," he said. "Tried to buy me off." My heart sank. "What did your parents say?" "They told them no. Said they raised a son, not a coward." I wanted to cry and kiss them both. "You could have taken the money." "I don't want their money. I want you." It was the first time he said it like that. Clear. Strong. No fear. We knew things were going to get harder. My parents didn't stop. They tracked my calls, locked me in the house, threatened to cut me off if I didn't end the foolishness. I tried to explain. I begged them to see Ken the way I saw him. But they wouldn't listen. To them, he was just a boy with dirty hands and no future. Still, we didn't stop seeing each other. We met in secret, at quiet cafes, abandoned parking lots, the back corner of his garage. Each meeting felt like stolen light in a world determined to stay dark. Sometimes I asked him if it was too much, if he wanted to give up. "I'm not afraid of them," he'd say. "I'm only afraid of losing you." His words kept me strong. But I was starting to realize that love, while beautiful, was not always enough to protect you. One night he didn't show up. I waited for hours at our spot, pacing and texting. No reply. I thought the worst, maybe my parents had scared him off, maybe he got arrested, or worse. The next day I found out someone had called the police on him, claiming he had stolen parts from a customer. It was a lie, obviously, but it made him miss a major job opportunity he had worked months to get. He never said it out loud, but I could see the weight on his shoulders growing heavier. "I'm sorry," I whispered as he held me close. "This isn't your fault," he said. "It's them. But I'm not going anywhere." As much as I hated my parents in those moments, I knew they believed they were protecting me. From heartbreak, from failure, from making the wrong choice. But they didn't understand what it meant to really choose at all. Ken wasn't a mistake. He was my truth. And I wasn't ready to let him go. After they failed to buy off Ken's parents, mine took a different route. One aimed directly at me. Started with my phone. Gone. Then my laptop. My car keys. Even my access to the driver was revoked. I was trapped inside the house like some kind of prisoner. The only time I was allowed out was for family events or public appearances. "You're not grounded," my mother said. "You're being protected from a poor decision." But I knew better. They weren't protecting me, they were trying to control me. I snuck calls to Ken from the landline when I could. Just hearing his voice gave me hope. "I miss you," he'd say. "We'll get through this." But each call ended with that same emptiness inside me. That same longing to be with him again. Then came Jack. He walked into our dining room one evening, tall, sharp in an expensive suit and full of fake charm. Jack Hayes, the son of one of my father's billionaire business partners. I'd seen him before at a few events, but never like this. This time he looked at me like I was already his. "My parents and yours go way back," he said, flashing his perfect smile. "We'd make a strong team." I almost choked on my drink. The next few weeks were a nightmare. Jack was suddenly everywhere, showing up at brunches, waiting outside my building, sending flowers, calling the house like we were dating. My mother began dropping hints about marriage. My father outright told me they were planning an engagement dinner. "You'll thank us one day," he said. "Jack is the kind of man who can give you the life you deserve." I looked him in the eye. I already found that life with Ken. Wrong answer. That night, the shouting was loud enough to shake the walls. My father accused me of being reckless. My mother cried about family reputation. I said nothing. I was done trying to convince people who refused to listen. Meanwhile, Ken's world was getting darker too. Someone vandalized his garage, smashed a window, slashed tires, left a note. "Stay away from her." He didn't tell me at first, not wanting to worry me, but I found out when I visited him during a stolen hour one afternoon. "They're trying to scare me," he said, voice low. "But I won't give up on us." "I'm so sorry," I whispered, touching the cut on his hand from the broken glass. He shook his head. "You didn't do this. They did." That was when I knew we couldn't keep going like this. We were surviving, not living. And something had to change. We started planning. Not something drastic at first. Just small ways to see each other. He'd wait by the alley behind my house. I'd climb down the fire escape. We shared short, quiet moments in the back of his car, or in an empty booth at a late-night diner. It was risky, but those minutes made everything else worth it. But the closer we got to the engagement dinner, the more the pressure built. I tried confronting my parents again. I begged them to listen. "You're not marrying Jack for love," I said. "You're marrying him for power." My father's face turned red. "You don't understand the world yet. You're young. You'll grow to love him." "No," I said, standing my ground. You can't force me to love someone I don't. My mother looked at me like I was some fragile glass that had just cracked. We've given you everything, Amelia. No, iwis parat. You gave me things. Ken gave me everything else. They didn't reply. They just left the room. And the date for the engagement dinner stayed locked on the calendar. 2 days before the party, Ken found me behind his garage with a wild idea. What if we leave? He said. Chicago. The city. Everything. I stared at him. Just run. Not forever, he said. Just for now. Until we can build something of our own. I've got a cousin in Detroit who owns a body shop. He'll give me work. We could start fresh. It sounded crazy, dangerous, but also free. I'll go with you, I said. We made a plan. The night of the engagement party, we'd meet at the back exit. Ide pakabak. We'd take a bus. No goodbyes. But fate, of course, had one more twist. The day before the party, I overheard Jack talking on the phone with someone. Someone who sounded like my father. Don't worry, sir. The garage issue's handled. The boy won't be a problem. I froze behind the hallway wall. They had set Ken up. All those accidents. All the threats. The ruined garage. The missed opportunity. It was Jack. I wanted to scream. But I stayed quiet. I listened. And in that moment I made up my mind for good. They didn't just hate Ken. They were actively destroying him. And they didn't care what it did to me. That night, I called Ken from a neighbor's phone. I told him everything. About Jack. About what I'd heard. About how sure I was now. I'm leaving with you, I said. No second thoughts. He didn't say much. Just, I'll be waiting. I spent the next 24 hours pretending. Smiling. Nodding. Trying on dresses. Listening to my mother fuss over flowers and champagne. My heart beat like thunder the whole time. They thought they were breaking me, but they were only setting me free. The day of the engagement party felt like I was walking through someone else's dream, or maybe their nightmare. The house was decorated like a royal palace. Crystal chandeliers sparkled, and silver trays floated through the air with champagne and caviar. My mother was dressed in a navy blue gown, my father in a black tux, both of them smiling proudly like actors on stage. And me? I was in a white and gold dress that cost more than most people's rent for a year. But I wasn't glowing. I wasn't smiling. Inside I was shaking. My heart wasn't in that room. It was out there in the dark with Ken. The party started slowly, greetings, music, shallow compliments. Jack stood by my side like a prince, charming and confident, one hand on my back like I was already his. Everyone kept saying how perfect we looked together. How lucky I was. Lucky. If only they knew. I played the part. I smiled for pictures. I accepted congratulations I didn't want. My mother gave a short speech about family and legacy. My father raised his glass and talked about building empires. Then Jack took the mic. I'm honored to be standing here tonight with Amelia, he said, flashing his white teeth. She's beautiful, smart, and comes from one of the finest families in Chicago. I look forward to our future together, a future filled with success, unity, and love. I almost laughed. He didn't mention anything real. Not my heart, not my dreams, not my name outside of a brag. Just success, unity, and love like it was a business contract. Everyone clapped. The band started playing. People danced. And then I saw him. Ken. He was near the back, dressed in a plain black shirt and jeans, blending into the crowd like a shadow. But I saw him, his eyes locked onto mine. Everything else faded. The music, the lights, the noise. It was just us. My chest tightened. My throat burned. I moved quickly, slipping away from Jack, ignoring the curious looks and whispered questions. I found Ken near the hallway, hiding behind a marble column. You came, I said, breathless. I had to see you. One last time if I had to, he replied. My heart dropped. What do you mean? He stepped closer. If this is what you want, Amelia, if you really want to stay in this life, I'll walk away. I'll let you go. I won't fight it anymore.
No, iwis parat.
Don't say that. You don't owe me anything, he said gently. But I had to tell you the truth one last time. I love you. I always have. I looked at him, truly looked. At his tired eyes. His bruised hands. His trembling voice. He had been through hell for me, and still he gave me the freedom to choose. Even if it meant losing me. And in that moment I knew. This wasn't just about love. This was about me. About becoming the woman I wanted to be. About living a life that was mine, not one designed by someone else. I turned around. My parents were watching from across the room. My father's jaw clenched. My mother looked like she might faint. Jack was glaring, already figuring out the scene about to unfold. I walked up to the center of the ballroom. I grabbed the mic Jack had just used. The music stopped. Every eye in the room turned to me. I need to say something, I said. My voice was shaky at first, but it grew stronger with every word. I know this night was supposed to be a celebration, but I can't go through with this engagement. A gasp rippled through the crowd. I know this isn't what my parents wanted to hear. I know this isn't what they planned. But this isn't my life. This is theirs. And I'm done living it for them. I turned toward Ken, who stood frozen near the exit. I love someone else. His name is Ken. He's kind, brave, honest, and he's risked everything for me. And I won't hide him anymore. Chaos followed. My mother cried out. My father yelled my name. Jack stormed out. People whispered and stared, but I didn't care. I dropped the mic, took off my heels, and ran straight to Ken. He grabbed my hand without a word. We pushed through the side doors and out into the night. We didn't look back. The bus station was quiet when we arrived. I had a backpack slung over my shoulder. Just a few clothes, some savings, and a notebook full of poems I never shared with anyone. Ken carried a duffel bag with everything he owned. We bought 2 tickets. One way. Detroit. We sat together near the back. The lights dimmed as the engine rumbled to life. I leaned my head on his shoulder, and he took my hand in his. Are you scared? He asked. A little, I said honestly. But I've never felt more free. We didn't have a plan, not really. We didn't know what would come next. But we had each other. And we had a chance, our own chance, to build something from nothing. That night, as the city lights faded behind us, I made a silent promise. No matter how hard it got, I'd never trade this freedom, this love, for all the riches in the world. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't just someone's daughter or someone's bride. I was me, and I had chosen my own story. Have you ever imagined yourself in this kind of situation? And I know so many things could be going on in your mind. What did you do about it? Subscribe to this channel, like, and hit on notifications for more interesting stories like this.